everyone, it's me, JB, and we are in week 32. So now we're going to take it back to week 6. And our verse comes from James 1:22. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. Live to listen. So now we're going to take this verse and we're going to go a little bit deeper. And so if you watched my last video, let me put my questions here so I don't forget what I'm doing. If you watched week 6, that video, I talked about the living to listen in 2 different ways. It's about one, first and foremost, listening to God, and then also listening to others, because I think that's also an important thing that sometimes we don't all do well. So now here are some of my questions. So apparently my phone did not want to stay up there. So our first question, so that we can go a little bit deeper. Are you listening to all of the Word of God, or are you listening to the parts that you want to listen to? Now the reason this question right here, it all has to do with me, because sometimes I'm very good at listening to God when it's what I want to hear. But when it's not what I want to hear, I have a little bit of a harder time listening. So are you really listening to God and everything that He says in His Word and everything that you're supposed to follow? Or are you just listening to the parts that you like, or the parts that are easy? And I think at some point in time, everyone is guilty of this. Everyone is guilty of just listening to the parts that they want to listen to. We do this with God, and we do this with other people. This is just something that we do. But how can we really get to the point where we really start completely listening to God? And I think for me at least, it's a conversation with myself of, if I truly believe that God has what's best for me in mind, then why wouldn't I listen to the words and the things that He says and obey them? So sometimes you have to just give yourself that little kind of like spiritual kick in the behind of, if I believe that God is who He says that He is, if I believe that He wants what is best for me, then why wouldn't I do what He wanted me to do? And that part of that is listening to His Word and then obeying. So now, when it comes to other people, so are you listening to others around you, or are you just listening to what you want to hear? Now, this one right here is another one that we are all guilty of. We are all guilty of just hearing what we want to hear, because sometimes you just want to hear what you want to hear. You don't want to hear everybody else's, whatever, whatnot. You just want to hear what you want to hear. Those, for me, tend to be the times where I don't ask people's opinion. If I don't want to hear what other people have to say because I'm just feeling some type of way, I just don't ask anyone's opinion. And then if you try to give me your opinion, I tell you, I didn't ask your opinion. It's a fault. I know it's a fault. I'm admitting it. I'm working on it. But also, when it comes to listening to others, are you listening to people who are like truly trying to speak to you too? Not just like they're trying to tell you something about you, or tell you something, something you need to do. But when a person is like truly needs someone to listen, are you that person who truly listens? And I try to be present when it comes to listening to people, because I know how it feels to talk to someone and feel like they're not listening. And that's like one of my like really big things. Like, if you don't have time to listen to me, or if you don't want to listen to me, just tell me, and then I won't waste my time saying it. But we all know that at least once in our life, we've had that person where we're telling them something and it's like crickets on the other end, and you're like, hey, are you even listening to me? And they're like, oh, yeah. And it was important to you, but they weren't giving you that same respect of importance to them. And that is just so difficult, especially when you have someone that you value in your life. If you don't truly actively listen to them, they just get to the point to where they just stop talking to you. Because if you're not actively listening to them, then why should they waste their time talking to you? So how can you improve this? How can you become a better active listener? I know for me, I typically am an active listener when someone is really in need of someone to listen to. I tend to try to give them 100% of my attention. And if I can't, I tell them that I can't give them my attention right now, and I schedule when I can. This is important because people cry out in different ways. People who come to you to tell you stuff. Some people just tell you stuff to just be telling you stuff, but some people tell you stuff because they really need someone. And if they come to you, then that means they trust and value in you and your opinion enough to open up to you. And so I feel like if someone's going to be that, if someone's going to entrust you with that, the least you can do is actively listen. You may not even need to give any advice. You may not even need to say anything. They may just need that person to actively listen. And so this week, it's so weird because since the beginning of all of this, now that we are going through and repeating, we're going through and going deeper in weeks. I am starting to see some differences of where I was in week 6 back then and where I am now when it comes to going deeper. And this is one that I would have told you when this happened back then. Oh yeah, not that bad of a problem listening to God. Sometimes when I don't want to hear, I have a hard time, but listening and being active with everyone else, no problems with that. And then this right here has been something that has come up with me, and because I know how I feel when people don't actively listen to me, I've had a few occasions, I think actually probably a couple of, maybe last week or the week before, where I had to tell a friend, and I could tell she really needed someone to talk to. I was like, I can't listen to you right now, but I'm going to call you and we will talk about it. And I think that's fine. And she seemed to be really receptive to it, and I called her back and I listened to what was going on. Because no one wants to sit and tell someone their story and they're not actively listening. No one wants to go through that. And it was just one of those moments where there was just 50 million fires going on, and I could not stop moving at that point in time. And I think people really do understand that. But with that being said, if you tell someone you're going to follow through, then you have to follow through. So we are going to go deeper with this. So now as we go deeper, if y'all cannot tell by the fact that it's super dark behind me, it is 9 o'clock or something crazy like that right now. And I told myself I am going to do a video each week until I got caught up. And then winter came. Winter is here, y'all. It's no joke. It was 50 degrees this morning. Craziness. And I'm not used to 50 degrees. 50 degrees is nuts. And so my grow light is on, and I was seeing reflectives of pink over there because my plants did not get any sun, so the grow light is on through the window. But winter is here, y'all, and all of a sudden, my brain fell out of my skull because it is 50 degrees outside. My brain falls out of my skull a lot, but I don't know what it is about me and cold. But me and cold, no, I was ill prepared. I went outside in shorts and a tank top. I didn't know what had happened. I was anyway. So back to it. Y'all know I go on my tangent. It's late. So now we are going to live at peace, in strength, with faith, in perseverance, without complaining, to listen. And now we are going to go deeper.